Hello students, we were doing the first lesson, School of Elements. We had seen so many type of periodic tables were introduced by various physicists and scientists. What were they doing? They were trying to organize all the elements in a proper order. Last we saw the Mendeleev who tried to organize these elements according to their atomic weights. He arranged them in the increasing order of atomic weights. But there were many demerits which we saw last time. Now in 1913, one English physicist, Henry Moseley, he said the fundamental property of elements was in the atomic number, not in the atomic weight. And so he showed how he can arrange the atomic numbers in the increasing order. And this is how the modern periodic table was formed. Based on this modern periodic table, he gave a modern periodic law. Now what does this law states? The law states that the physical and chemical properties of the elements are the periodic function of their atomic numbers. What did he do in this law? As Mendeleev also gave the same law, but his law was based on the fundamental property of atomic weights, and his law, the Henry Moseley's law, was based on the atomic numbers. So he made a modern periodic table, and now which is accepted worldwide is the long form of periodic table. We are going to see stepwise all the various elements, how it is arranged in the long form of periodic table. This is the modern periodic table of the elements, and this is called the long form of periodic table. We are going to see the position of elements in this table. You can see the horizontal lines, the horizontal blocks and the vertical blocks. Now the horizontal blocks are called the periods and the vertical blocks are called the groups. This is the basic structure of periodic table. It is made up of periods and groups. The vertical columns are called the groups, and how many groups are there? You can see the numbering being done. 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 18. That means I can say there are 18 groups in this periodic table. In all, 7 periods and 18 groups. This is the setup of modern periodic table. Now in each period, if I take first period, this is the first period, 1 and 2 elements are placed here. In the second period, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements are placed here. So every period is showing how many elements are placed. As you can see, the first period is the shortest period. It contains only 2 elements, 1 element and 2 elements. So this is called the shortest period. Period number 2 and 3 are called the short periods, containing 8 elements each. Period number 4 and 5 are called the long elements. That means it is also called as the long period. Why it is called a long period? Because it contains more than 8 elements, it contains 18 elements. Sixth period is the longest period. It contains 32 elements. And 7th is an incomplete period. Here still there are chances to new elements to come. So this period is called as incomplete period. These are the periods which I just discussed now. What about the groups? Now there are, you can say, 18 groups. Vertical columns are called as groups. The first group is called as alkali group. Second group, the elements present in the second group are called as alkaline earth metals or alkaline earth elements. 17th group is called the halogens. The 18th group is called the inert gas group. Now here why they are called inert gases? As their octet is complete. That means the last orbit is not short of any of the electrons. It is having 8 electrons as required. And so they are not reactive and they are called as inert groups. This is about the groups. First group is called the alkali group. Second group is called the alkaline earth metals group. 17th is called the halogen group, and 18th is called the inert gas group. Now we come to how it is arranged, how the metals, non-metals, metalloids are arranged in this modern periodic table. Roughly, if I say, the left side of the modern periodic table contains the metals. The right side contains the non-metals. Except the inert gases, the right side contains the non-metals. And in between the zigzag, you can see this light green color. These are called as metalloid groups. So in elements, when we talk of elements, we generally focus on metals, non-metals and metalloids. The left part of the modern periodic table is containing metals, the right part is containing non-metals, and in between the zigzag part is containing the metalloid groups. So this is the layout of modern periodic table. Now, first group and second group. If I take first group and second group, what is the speciality of it? I am talking of groups now. As you go down the group, here the number of shells goes on increasing. Now what are shells? Shells where the atoms are arranged, the electrons are arranged around the nucleus. So as you go down the group, the number of shells goes on increasing. The first group will have one shell increasing each time. But there is a condition, the number of shells are increasing, but the number of valence electrons remains same. Now what are valence electrons? Valence electrons are the electrons present in the last orbit. If I say here, first group, the last orbit of hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, I am taking all these metals. The last group contains one electron only. What is increasing? The number of shells are increasing down the group. This is the speciality of groups. When I talk of groups, the number of shells goes on increasing, but the number of valence electrons remains same. Group 18th on the last group, here you can see this group 18, here the valence electrons remain same. And why? Because they have their octet complete. Last orbit contains 8 electrons, so they are unreactive, they do not need any of the further electrons. Now these two elements, these two groups, if I consider, these two groups are called as normal elements. Normal elements, why I am saying normal? Because they are behaving normally, not like the in-between elements. So if I say group 1, group 2, group 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. These groups 1, 2, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, they are called as normal elements. Normal elements when they have only the last orbit incomplete. Their only last orbit is incomplete, other orbits are complete. Now these are also called as S block elements. The elements present in the first group, second group, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, they are called as normal elements. Normal elements because they contain only the last orbit which is incomplete. Rest of the orbits or rest of the shells are complete. The elements present in the groups 3 to 12, they are called as transition elements. They are different from the normal elements. Now how are they different? The normal elements have last shell incomplete, but the transition elements have last 2 shells incomplete. This is the difference. The 2 rows which you can see here down the table, you can see these 2 rows are written separately. The first row is known as lanthanides, second row is known as actinides. Here they were discovered later on, but they had some resemblance with the metals, and therefore here you can see this is a violet color, lanthanides is written. The number, these are the 14 elements which are present as lanthanides. They are placed after the atomic number 57, and they have the resemblance with these the number 57, therefore they are placed here. These 14 lanthanides were placed separately. and it is shown that from 57 to 71 atomic number, these are called as lanthanides. They are placed here because they have similar properties with the elements around them. Second row is actinides. They also contain 14 elements, and they are present in the third period and the third group and the seventh period. After 89 number, that is atomic number 89, they are placed from 90 to 103. They also have similar properties to the elements around them, and therefore these are called as lanthanides and actinides, which were discovered later on. They were named as inner transition elements. Now, what is the difference between transition and inner transition? Transition elements have 2 shells incomplete, that is the last 2 shells incomplete, but the inner transition elements have last 3 shells incomplete. So this is the difference between normal elements, transition elements and inner transition elements. There are 3 types of elements which we have just seen. Elements in the periodic table are also classified according to their electronic configuration. Now, what is electronic configuration? When we say electronic configuration, how to place the electrons in the different shells, that is called as electronic configuration. According to electronic configuration, the whole periodic table are divided into 4 blocks: S block elements, P block elements, D block elements and F block elements. S block elements are covering the first 2 groups. P block elements are covering from 13 to 18 groups. These are called as P block elements. Now here helium was not considered as it contains only 2 electrons, so only 1 orbit is present here. Transition elements from group number 3 to group number 12 are called as D block elements, and the lanthanides and actinides, that is the inner transition elements, they are called as F block elements. These blocks were made depending on their electronic configuration. The S block elements contain all metals, that means it is purely made up of metals. P block elements have both metals, non-metals and metalloids. So if you are asked what does P block elements contain, you have to answer that P block elements have all the 3 types of elements, that is the metals, non-metals and metalloids. F block elements are also containing only metals, as they are part from 57 to 71 and 89 to 103 atomic number. So in short, I am saying transition elements and inner transition elements all contain metals. So which is the only block which contain all 3 types of elements? It is the P block, which contain the 3 types of elements: metals, non-metals and metalloids. Now in this table you can see this zigzag green colored metals and non-metals. Now here when I am pointing out boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium and polonium, you can see it is almost a zigzag way it is made. This zigzag way is showing the metalloids group. What are metalloids? Metalloids are the elements which show both the properties of metals and non-metals. Metalloids, beyond this side of metalloids, you can see here the non-metals, and the left side of metalloids are the metals. So in the P block elements, in between, the metalloids are cutting through metals and non-metals. On the right side of metalloids is non-metal and the left side of metalloids is metal. This is the general layout of modern periodic table. Based on this periodic table, we can come to know various periodic properties. Now what are periodic properties? The properties which show various gradation when we move down the group or across a period. We are going to see some properties which come back again and again, and they show a gradation in the properties. What are these properties? These properties are called as periodic properties. Now we are going to see how we are going to calculate the valency from any of the element. If I say What is valency? Valency is the combining capacity of an element. Now if I say how many electrons are present in the last orbit, in the first group you can see, as I said, the first group will have last orbit same number of valence electron. But when I am saying using the words valence electrons and valency, there might be some difference in that. Now what is the difference between valency and valence electrons? Valence electrons are the electrons present in the last orbit. All the last orbit will have same number of electrons, and the combining capacity of an element is called as valency. What is an element trying to do? An element is trying to obtain an octet. That means it is trying to become stable itself. How it will become stable? Either if the electrons are more in number, it will give out electrons, or if it is short of electrons, it will take electrons. So the number of electrons which it gives out, or the number of electrons it takes, or the number of electrons it shares, that forms the valency. Now when I go from left to right in a period, what is happening? The valency is increasing from 1 to 4, and then it is decreasing from 4 to 1. I am not considering inert gases. Inert gases valency is 0 because it doesn't need any electrons to be given out or taken in. So when you go from left to right in a periodic tables period, what we are observing that the valency increases from 1 to 4 and then slowly decreases back to 1. What happens in the group? The valency remains same. Why it remains same? Because the number of valence electrons remains same. This is the valency, how it is calculated. It depends on the number of valence electrons. For example, if I take sodium, sodium number is 11. So 11, if I distribute these electrons, it will come as 3 shells. 2, 8, 1. So 2, 8, 1, that means in the last orbit, 1 electron is present. As I go to the next one, magnesium, the atomic number here is 12. So the electronic configuration becomes 2, 8, 2. Now you saw the number of valence electron increasing, therefore the number of valency also increasing. We are not considering these transition elements. We will directly come to the 13 number here. 13 number here is aluminium. Now if I divide this into electronic configuration, I get 2, 8, 3. Now 3 is the number of electrons which is given out. That means the valency is 3. So 1, 2, 3, it has increased. Come to silicon. Silicon, the number 14, that is atomic number is 14. If I say how will you distribute in the electronic configuration, you will say 2, 8, 4. That means the 4 number of electrons are being shared by others. So valency become 4. Now come to the next one, phosphorus. Atomic number is 15. 15. How will you distribute in the electronic configuration? 2, 8, 5. Now these 5 electrons are very difficult to be removed from the last shell. It is easier for this atom to take 3 electrons from others. So the valency becomes 3 and the valence electrons are 5. Now here, till here we saw silicon, the valency was 4. Now it dropped down to 3 because it needs 3 electrons more to complete the octet. If I go to sulfur, sulfur atomic number is 16. That means how will I distribute in electronic configuration? 2, 8, 6. It's not easy for the element to give out 6 electrons. It's easy for the element to take 2 electrons more from some other element. Therefore, its valency becomes 2. So this is how 1, 2, 3, 4, then again 3, 2, now we come to chlorine. Chlorine atomic number 17. If I distribute it, 2, 8, 7. 2, 8, 7, that means it needs only 1 electron. When it needs only 1 electron, valency is 1. Valence electrons is 7. So it dropped down to 1. So it increases from 1 to 4, drops down to 1. I am not saying for argon because argon already is an inert gas. So this is how when you go from left to right in a period, the valency increases from 1 to 4 and drops down to 1. This is very important question which always is asked in some form or the other. You should know the reason for it. Another interesting fact, if I say period number 1, period number 2, period number 3, what does it denote? It also denotes one more thing. First period, that means it has only one shell. Second period, that means it has only 2 shells. Third period, it has only 3 shells. Fourth period, it has only 4 shells. So the number of period also indicates the number of shells it has, the number of orbits it has. So it can be asked to you, what does this period number indicate? So period number indicates the number of shells in those particular elements. This is very important part of this periodic table. Now we have understood how the valency increases. What about the atomic size? Now what is atomic size? It's the distance from the nucleus of the atom to the last shell. This is called the atomic radius and it is also known as the atomic size. Now the atomic size, when I go from top to bottom in a group, the atomic size increases. Now why does it increase? Because as I said earlier, as you go from top to bottom, each number of shells goes on increasing as you go down the group. Now if the number of shells are increasing, obviously the atomic radius is also increasing. So in a way I can say atomic size increases down the group because the number of shells are increasing here. So when you go down the group, the number of shells increase, the atomic size increases. What happens when I go from left to right in a period? What happens to the atomic size or the atomic radius? When I go from left to right, I said the number of shells do not increase, but only the number of valence electrons increases. Here the valence electron was 1. Here the valence electron was 2. Here the valence electron was 3. Here the number of valence electrons was 4. Here the valence electrons were 5. Here it was 6. Here it was 7. That means from left to right in a period, the number of electrons in the last orbit goes on increasing. Now as I said, electrons are the charged particles. When more charged particles increase, it gets attracted towards the nucleus. Now when you go from left to right, the number of electrons are increasing, they are getting attracted toward the nucleus and therefore getting pulled toward the nucleus. So the atomic size reduces. So when we go from left to right in a period, the atomic size decreases. Now you should know the reason for it. You can be asked a give reason question. From when we go from left to right in a period, atomic size decreases. Why? The atomic size decreases because as the number of valence electrons goes on increasing, the charges are getting pulled towards the nucleus. When it is getting pulled towards the nucleus, the atomic size or the atomic radius reduces. But opposite is the case when you go from top to bottom in a group. Here the number of shells are increasing, therefore the size is also increasing. This is very important part of this lesson where 1 mark or 2 mark questions are asked. We saw 2 periodic properties now. First was valency, second was atomic size. How the valency changes in a group and in a period, and how the atomic size changes. Now what about the third property, which is called as metallic or non-metallic property? All the metals have the tendency to lose electrons. Now they have the tendency because they are having either 1 electron, 2 electron or 3 electron in the last orbit. The atom in the metal have the tendency to lose of electron because they want to become stable. They want to become stable and they want to have the octet in the last orbit. So the tendency to lose electrons is called electropositivity or electropositive nature. And what about the non-metals? The non-metals have the tendency to gain electrons. Now, as you saw in this table, the non-metals were short of either 1 or 2 or 3 electrons. So it was easier for the non-metals to gain electrons from the other elements, and therefore they are called as electronegative elements. So electropositive elements are metals, electronegative elements are non-metals. If you see in a period in this periodic table, when you go from left to right, the electropositivity was maximum towards the left side, and as you go from left to right, electropositivity decreases and electronegative character increases, because the left side contains more of metals and the right side contains more of non-metals. And here the non-metals and metals are separated by metalloids. So electropositive character and electronegative character is also asked for give reason question. Why the electropositive nature is seen on the left side? So your answer should be because on the left side of this periodic table, maximum metals are there and metals have the tendency to lose electrons. So they are called as electropositive elements. Electropositive elements decreases across the period but increases down the group. So you have to remember which property is showing what type of characteristic across a period and down the group. These are the properties we just discussed. Main importance are valency, atomic size, and metallic and non-metallic property.